America is not a racist country.
Ladies and gentlemen, Harvard University, like many in the US, got all of their funding through slavery. Harvard would not be standing there today if it was not for slavery, just like many of these other universities that are standing and have a legacy of slavery. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't let these folks try to act like these colleges did not come off the backs of slavery. They'll try to argue with you and tell you that, and that is absolutely false. I mean, look, even the colleges are and universities are admitting that their funding came from slavery. All of these Catholic schools that you pass by, they exist because of the funding that came from slavery. That's how the Catholic Church became wealthy in the first place. So, Harvard University leaders, faculty, and staff enslaved more than 70 individuals during the 17th and 18th century when slavery was legal in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is not the South. Oh, slavery was in the South. I love how they tell you that in school, and it's so false, it's not even funny. According to a report, the university deep ties to wealth generated from slave labor in the South and the Caribbean, its significant role in the nation's longest history of racial discrimination. So they even admit that there is a long legacy of racial discrimination that Harvard allowed. The Harvard and the Legacy of Slavery report made public Tuesday represents a landmark acknowledgement from one of the world's most prestigious universities. Mhm. And its entanglement with slavery, white supremacy, and racial injustice for centuries after its 1636 founding. It also shatters any notion that Harvard, by virtue of its location in New England, had insulated itself from the evils of economic and social systems based on human bondage. The school pledged $100 million in redress the injustices. Much of Harvard's record on slavery and racial discrimination has been known for years, but the report sought to deepen the knowledge and tie it all together with unsparing portrait of institutional failings. Among finding enslaved people of indigenous and African descent played an integral role in the Harvard community in the first century and a half. The first Harvard schoolmaster, Nathan Eaton, enslaved a man known as the Moor. You hear that? His slave was known as the Moor, who served the college earliest students, various Harvard presidents, fellow overseers, stewards, and faculty members enslaved more than 70 people until slavery was outlawed in Massachusetts in 1783. The report did not state a precise count, but the university said the total appears to be 79, dozens more than previously known, and I bet you it's bigger than 79. Five men who were made, they made all of their fortune from slavery, and slave produced commodities accounted for more than one third of donations or financial pledges Harvard received from private individuals during the first half of the 19th century. Among them was Benjamin Bussey, a sugar, coffee, and cotton merchant who left Harvard in a state of $320,000 when he died in 1842. James Perkins, who business included Caribbean slave trading, and he left $20,000 to Harvard in 1822. That is like a lot of money back in those times. Harvard was home to intellectuals who promoted race science and eugenics in the 19th and 20th centuries. Their theories research included a collection of photographs of enslaved people, and nude students provide crucial support for those seeking to justify white supremacy. In other racist ideologies, the university's museum collection also hold human remains to believe to be from indigenous people and enslaved people of African descent. And trust me, those indigenous people, they were black. Don't let them tell you they were something else. They weren't. The report was produced by a faculty committee convened by Harvard President Lawrence S. Bacow in 2019. Many who read the report will find it disturbing, even shocking, Bacow said in a statement. Harvard benefited from, and in some ways perpetuated, practices that were profoundly immoral, Bacow said. Consequently, I believe we bear a moral responsibility to do what we can to address the persistent effects of those historic practices on individuals, on Harvard, and on our society. Harvard is among the latest major universities to engage in a public reckoning with their role in slavery. Well, no, 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 no. Until you financially compensate, it ain't over. Plain and simple. So the trend is emerging after Brown University published a soul searching report in 2006 on its ties to the transatlantic slave trade. Yeah, because you couldn't live without slavery and you still can't. That's why you mass incarcerate people and have them behind bars doing all that prison work because you still can't live without it. Georgetown University and the University of Virginia and William and Mary, among others, also dug deeply into their slavery stained past in recent years. A group called Universities Studying Slavery, based at UVA, counts about 90 members, including Harvard, in the United States and abroad. Some universities, including Georgetown and William and Mary, have apologized in recent years for their role in slavery. Others have not. The Cow statement stopped short from an apology on the behalf of Harvard, and the university declined to comment on that point. But Bacow announced that the university will set aside $100 million dollars for initiative, including an endowment to respond to the report's finding. The report recommended an expansion of partnerships with historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs. Under this plan, Harvard would pay for HBCU faculty members to spend a summer, semester, or school year in visiting appointments on the Cambridge campus. And Harvard professors would be able to do the same at HBCUs. The report also envisioned that HBCU students would be invited to spend a summer or 1 or 2 semesters at Harvard during their junior year with financial aid from Harvard. Juniors at Harvard would spend time at HBCUs as well. Students in those programs would be known as Du Bois Scholars, honoring the civil rights leader W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay, so I guess they're going to play musical chairs, but that's not a solution for what's wrong out here today. At the end of the day, y'all can keep dancing around. It is not reparations unless you pay the people that were impacted by it and their generations that followed them. And until you get to the money part, all this other stuff is it's fine and good for you to do those things, but that's not reparations at all. There's many people in the community that never went to HBCU, so how are you compensating them? No, I mean, this is a step, but definitely not reparations, and it certainly does not make everything right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the report also proposed that the university take steps to help remedy educational uh, iniquities among communities of descendants of enslaved people, including in the South and in the Caribbean, working with schools, community colleges, tribal colleges, and other institutions. We recommend a particular focus on the creation, expansion of world class learning opportunities, including curriculum. Okay. I mean, they're talking about education again. Where is the money? Where's the money? Harvard has previously acknowledged its significant connection to slavery. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all this is. Really, it's an acknowledgement of how deep they were into slavery and how slavery funded many buildings that sit on the Harvard University property today. In fact, the whole university is there with the help of slave labor and financing that came directly off of the backs of the people that were working their behinds off on these plantations. That's where the money came from. So never let them try to dance around and tell you that it didn't come from those places when it did indeed. If it wasn't for slavery, many of these colleges and universities that you are looking at today would not exist. They wouldn't be here at all. Okay, medicine would not be as far as it is if it wasn't for them dissecting slaves. All of gynecology is the way that it is because of all the dissection that was done on female slaves. So, yeah, you got a lot of thank yous to do, but you still need to give a bag. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video.